Well, that was a really good opener, Amy. Thank you for that. I mean, she pretty much laid out a really good case for why this is not convincing to people who are not Christians. Um, I've said this before. When I lost my faith in Christianity, I didn't then have to go through and look at every single other possible religious option. I didn't have to look at Islam or Buddhism, Hinduism. I had to go and say, well, maybe the ancient Egyptians had it right. Let me see what they said about their deities, or the ancient Romans, or the ancient Greeks. Once you get past the belief set that you're indoctrinated into based on where you're at, everything else pretty much falls by the wayside. You don't have to go then and eliminate all those claims. You've already rejected them in your head years ago without even really investigating them. You just assume that the Roman gods don't exist, the Greek gods don't exist. You've never looked at the Persian gods, the Zoroastrian gods. You've never, spent the time to study those religions. You just assume that there's no good evidence to support them. Now, once you also realize that applies to your own preferred faith, it's a profound sense of freedom because, like I say, you don't have to go and invalidate all the other religions. You can just stick with what we know to be true, which is naturalism, what we see in our everyday life. Naturalism. We see everything happening through purely natural processes. We don't see a need for God or a need for magic in any of it. But beyond that, so the Pascal's Wager is a claim that surprisingly, you see some very intelligent Christians make the claim for this. So Sal Cordova, who's going to be debating Matt Dillahunty on this, he's a very intelligent man. I've seen James Coons from Modern Day Debate. He's debated this issue with T-Jump before. He's a very smart dude also. So this is not like something that only simple-minded people find to be compelling. And it ties in with the terrible doctrine that would be the reality of hell. And because that is such a unimaginably harsh penalty for getting this one question wrong, that the wager can be that, well, even if there's only 1 out of 1 trillion chances that Christianity is true, wouldn't you want to err on the side of caution? Wouldn't you want to hedge your bets that Christianity might be true? Because, as Amy said, hey, if it turns out that atheism is right, but you lived your life as a Christian, the most thing you could say that you did is you lost out on some earthly pleasures that you might have wanted to indulge in, but you didn't because you wanted to make your non-existent God happy, which is not really much in the end, but the reward of the other side is you get to be potentially telling God how amazing and awesome he is for all of eternity. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty amazing to me. Not really. But the fatal flaw to this argument is that if you have to resort to it, that you're probably in trouble anyway, even if the God is true. Now, why do we say that? And that's because if you're not really convinced in your heart that it's likely this God exists, you're just hedging your bets on the fact that he's there because the teaching of hell is so terrible. Well, he would know that, like, look, he doesn't really think I exist. He's just doing this because he doesn't want to be sent to hell. But I want people in heaven who are sure that I exist. I don't want just people that are hedging their bets. So if you're relying on that to save you, I think you might be in trouble because it kind of ties in with like people being forced to convert to a religion against their will, and that even the Christians rejected that pretty early. They said we can't force the Jews to convert, through penalty of death, even though they actually did that sometimes. But the official church policy is you can't force that because then they're not really believing. They're just saying they do because they're being forced to. So they'll still end up going to hell anyway. So this wager really offers very little security. So if you're not truly convinced that God is real, just be true to yourself. Thank you.
I think that was an awesome opener too, and yeah, it really is like David's trying to say in chat. It's like they're trying to trick a god.
Yeah, you're trying to make God think you believe him, but if he would know that, hey, this guy doesn't really believe in me. He just doesn't want to go to hell. So I'm going to send him there anyway, because why not?
It's assuming the none of the other religions. It's trying to make a dichotomy when in reality it's almost infinite. It is infinite.
Pretty much. And well, that's the world that Pascal lived in. He had that dichotomy because he didn't even consider the other religions to be options. He just considered Christianity's true or not true. One or the other.